The artist Marianne North, very colourful, vibrant oil paintings. They have both closed today, unfortunately, but they're definitely worth a visit. Particularly the Marianne North Gallery is quite a spectacular sight when you go in there. So up here we'll have the Temperate House. This is the largest surviving Victorian glass structure and home to 1,500 species of plants from the temperate regions. So these are areas with moderate temperatures. So it's been very hot recently, obviously, so you'll see a lot of the windows and rooftop and the doors open on this building as they try to regulate the temperatures in there, as these plants prefer the more mild climates. Many of the plants in there are endangered in the wild. Some are even extinct and only to be found here at Kew or other similar botanical gardens. It's in very good condition, this building. It was renovated about 6 years ago and then reopened by Sir David Attenborough. We'll come here to stop number 2 for the Temperate House and the Pavilion restaurant over there. Okay, looks like everyone's staying on, so we'll continue. So we have the Pavilion restaurant on our right. Well, you'll get a better view of it as we come round the corner. And that's named after the tea pavilion that was on that location before. That building was famously burnt down. So the pavilion named after the tea pavilion that was on that location before. That building, it was famously burnt down during a protest by the suffragettes. So back in 1913, a number of ladies from the suffragette movement, they climbed over the walls of Kew, they broke in and they burnt that building down and also damaged one of the orchid houses we used to have. And it made all the newspapers that week. But they were caught quite soon after, found on Richmond Green and put in prison for their crimes. But they then went on hunger strike, and the police of the day decided to let them go quietly to avoid any more protesting or civil unrest. But they got the publicity they were seeking for their campaign. They were of course fighting for their right to vote in public UK elections. You can see they've just today they've set up a cinema screen on the right there, outdoor cinema. They have events like this throughout the summer. I think tonight or tomorrow they're showing Wicked, the sequel, or maybe it's a prequel to Wizard of Oz. I'm sure that'll be good, but maybe. On the right here we've got you'll see a lot of the grass is left to grow naturally, and that's to help pollinators like bees and butterflies. And that's a deliberate policy that's often used nowadays. You'll see that in other parts of Britain, alongside roundabouts or even motorways. They leave the grass to grow to help those pollinators. They like the wildflowers here, and that has increased the number of butterflies here at Kew. You'll see some flying around today most likely. But of course for many years it was the fashion to have your lawns cut very short on formal gardens. But it seems today we favour promoting the biodiversity instead. We'll come round this corner at Lion Gate. You can spot the big lion on the doorway. Smallest entrance to Kew, and if you leave here you can walk down to Richmond Town Centre in about 5-10 minutes. Some lovely pubs on the river there. That's where I'd rather be right now. But we'll come around this corner and we've got a lovely Indian rain tree. No, sorry, that was earlier. This is an Indian horse chestnut here on the corner with the pink flowers. Indian horse chestnut, and there's about 6 of those behind the orangery, and the bees really like these ones. So we're going to pull up underneath the Great Pagoda, the tallest folly in the gardens, designed by William Chambers in 1762. And when it was built, it was actually one of the tallest buildings anywhere in Britain. Quite hard to believe nowadays, with the high-rise flats and skyscrapers we see so often, but this would have been a very tall building back in the 1700s, and it provided a rare bird's-eye view of London, which most people would struggle to get in their entire lifetime. So it's very popular. People travel from all over the country to go inside. This is stop 3 for the grounds of the pagoda and the Japanese garden.
You moved.
No, look there, look. Stop 3. Oh, but the one before this didn't stop. No, it didn't, did it? Right, so I'm going mad.
So this building, designed by William Chambers, he also designed the Somerset House in central London. They have a big courtyard in there, quite a famous building. There's a ice rink there in the winter, and it has the Courtauld Gallery in there. Lots of very famous Impressionist paintings like Cézanne's and Monet's. And he also designed the gold stagecoach the royal family used for their coronations. You'll be familiar with that if you saw King Charles's coronation a number of years ago, or even Queen Elizabeth's coronation back in the 50s. I've seen it on YouTube. We'll come through here. We'll have the Japanese garden on the right. This is one of my personal favourite areas of Kew. This is where late 16th century Japan is evoked by tea gardens of peace, activity and harmony. The landscape is symbolic, so the boulders represent the mountains and the gravel represents the oceans. And these types of gardens are usually a miniaturised, idealised version of nature. So it's very well thought out and manicured, as you can see from here. There's a pathway that you walk down that takes you through the Japanese garden through the 3 different areas. In the centre there's a replica of a temple, the full-size version's in Kyoto in Japan. And it's common to see Buddhist monks in Japan raking the gravel in their dry garden as a form of meditation.
Aria, sit down. Come on, sit down. Aria, sit down.
Covering 326 acres, Kew Gardens is the largest and the most diverse botanical and fungal collection anywhere in the world. We have around 90% of all known species of plant and fungi here in the gardens, in the glasshouses, or represented in dried form in places like the herbarium and fungarium, which hold millions of dried specimens kept in drawers for scientific research. And there's around 11,000 trees here in the main arboretum where we are now. And if you look at all the trees that you're passing, you'll see a black badge on the trunk. On the black badge you'll have the scientific name, often in Latin or Greek, and the common English name and the place of origin. If you see any with a blue badge, these are champion trees, and that just means they're the best example of that tree in Britain today. We have about 315 blue badge champion trees. So we're going to go through the redwood grove. This is where the tallest trees in the gardens are coastal and giant redwoods native to the United States of America. And these trees grow to colossal sizes, the biggest trees in the world. So we're going to go over a big stone circle beneath the train, a large stone circle. That's there to represent the average width of a redwood in the wild. So you'll see that is huge. You can compare that to a lot of our redwoods on the right here particularly. These are our oldest and tallest. They're about 40 metres tall, a few of them. They're about 160 years old, planted in the Victorian age when redwoods were thought to be the ultimate botanical status symbol. But they're quite young really in redwood terms. If you take a flight across to California, you can find redwoods 2,500 years old. And over 100 metres in height, some of these fantastic trees, they are thought to be some of the largest living organisms anywhere in the world.
Hurry up. Sit down. Sit down, puppy. We are making video.
The lovely water lily pond on the right. Very picturesque. It's actually man-made, that area, but I do think it sits very nicely into the landscape. And that means we're now in the Pinetum. That's Kew's collection of pine trees, conifers, spruces, larches, all evergreen trees. On the left there's a wooden fence, and that's the border of the natural area. It's 40 acres of wetland and woodland, completely wild in there, very different to the rest of Kew in character. All the trees are native to Britain, and there's lots of wildlife in there, deers, badgers, foxes, bats. There's a pathway you can take up here that will take you into that area. This is stop 4. You can also reach the Children's Log Trail, the lake, and the River Thames. Are you trying to get off the train? And you can step off now if you... So we've got it starts to open up here, and we've got a very romantic area here. This is the Sion Outlook, and there's the River Thames on the left, and Sion House, the London home of the Duke of Northumberland, and that building often used for TV and film, recently in Bridgerton, the Netflix period drama. And then if you look back into the gardens, you've got a long avenue of trees. That's Sion Vista, leads you all the way down to the back of the Palm House. We'll come under this natural archway. Lovely American red oak on the right here, big twisted trunk. And that means we're now in the oak collection, so you'll see oak trees here from all over the world, and around 1,000 English oak, Quercus robur. So we're just taking a left here. We can't continue straight on that pathway there on the right. That goes into a big valley, and the train can't go down there. But you can walk through that area. That's the rhododendron dell, named after the hundreds of rhododendrons you'll find planted on the slopes here. And there's around 700 different specimens, many collected from the Himalayas by the second director of Kew, Joseph Hooker. And others are hybrids only to be found here. And they have gone over now, unfortunately, but in May time and early June there was an amazing display of colours and varieties. Also down there is the Japanese farmhouse, an authentic Minka house that you can go inside, that was brought here from Japan. And also around that, the largest collection of bamboo in the UK, with 130 different species. And the bamboo beds have a plastic lining, a sheeting around them to stop it spreading to other areas, as some species of bamboo are very invasive and they grow very quickly. They're hard to get rid of. Come around this corner here. This will be stop 5 for the Brentford Gate and the Ferry Lane car park here. The main car park. Yeah, we're going to stop here at stop 5 for the Ferry Lane car park. You don't need to press the button. We will stop automatically. And this is for the car park and the children's to depart. Some notice boards here on the right with some of our tree gang, as they're called, the people who look after the trees at Kew. and some different species there that they look after and how endangered they are on the red list. So we're very much a scientific institute here at Kew, not just the lovely gardens. We work with hundreds of scientists here and all over the world in collaboration with other botanical gardens and other different capacities, working on all the big issues you would imagine, anything to do with climate change, preventing biodiversity loss and securing the future of our crops as the climate changes. We've had some record-breaking temperatures already this summer, further proof that climate change is real, and anyone that thinks otherwise should be changing their mind. We'll come around this corner and you'll be able to smell some of the eucalypts on the left here, eucalypt trees in the children's garden there on the left. They're just shedding their bark, the Australian eucalypt trees. A weather station here on the right, this fenced off area, that records the temperature and other data that's sent to the Met Office for their weather reports. Kew Palace on the left there, that's where Queen Charlotte, George III and their 15 children lived. It has now closed for the day. This is stop 6 for the Elizabeth Gate. We'll come round this corner here onto the Great Broad Walk. So we're on the Great Broad Walk. These are the longest double herbaceous borders in Britain, possibly in the world, at 320 metres long. The beds are mirrored to the same on the left as they are on the right, and they're semicircular shaped, and they're probably at their best now, so it's a brilliant time to see the Great Broad Walk. Thousands of different flowers and varieties up and down this pathway. Lots of colour, quite a lot of purple plants. The bees particularly like the pollinating the purple plants. On the left, through the trees is the Princess of Wales Conservatory. That's our most modern glasshouse, opened in 1987 by the late Diana, Princess of Wales, but actually named after Princess Augusta, who founded the gardens. And there's 10 different separate zones in there. Each one has its own climate and humidity. And a very large variety of plants: cacti, tucalivorous plants, orchids, bromeliads, giant water lilies, and many, many more. So the Palm House here, the most famous building in the gardens, it's a living laboratory dedicated to Earth's tropical regions, built to imitate the atmosphere of a rainforest. So lovely and warm and humid in there. Designed by Decimus Burton and Richard Turner, who was an Irish shipbuilder, and they used the shipbuilding techniques of the day, which is why it looks like the upturned hull of a ship. And it's closed now, unfortunately, but I do think it looks particularly spectacular as the sun sets behind it in the evenings, and you can see all the plants in there silhouetted. That is closed, that building, but behind it you've got the rose garden, definitely worth a visit. Lots of roses and perfumes out at the moment. Okay, we're going to arrive back at Victoria Gate. We're stopping on the right side, so just be aware as the doors open onto the grass. Okay, thank you very much.
You have a YouTube.